Good afternoon, everybody, and we continue our travel, online travel, virtual travel worldwide to different countries. Yesterday we visited Turkey, and today we moved so far away from our continent, just directly to Africa, and in particular to South Africa, and more, in addition to Durban. It's a very nice place. I visited many times, and I hope I will visit in the near future again. I will introduce just our main speaker, Professor Angela James. I hope, as I understood, everybody from Angela's team is
we'll introduce ourselves.
Okay,
Please,
from KwaZulu-Natal University in South Africa. And okay, please introduce yourself individually. It would be better.
Okay. So Leonard, would you like to go, and then Sifundo, and then I'll go last, please? Please put your cameras on if you do not mind.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Leonard Molefe from the University of KwaZulu-Natal. I'm in science education discipline. I'm very much into environmental studies, environmental education, ecological studies. So that will be the gist of what I will be presenting today. Thank you.
Thank you. Sifundo, would you like to go? Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Angela. Hi, everyone. My name is Sifundo Sibiya. I am working for an organization called WESSA. WESSA is the Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa. So we run environmental education. Our responsibility is to actually take care of the earth through education, and obviously bringing in ESD and dealing with environmental issues that we are currently facing globally. So yeah, we have education centers in KwaZulu-Natal where we educate young learners and adults about the issues that we face in the environment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, colleagues. So you would have noticed that Dr. Molefe is from UKZN and Mr. Sibiya is from WESSA. So we are looking at integrating our presentation and not localizing it into a particular aspect of the discipline of science. So my name is Prof. Angela James. I'm within the School of Education and I wear two hats. I teach within science education and I'm the academic leader for community engagement. So what we're going to do is I'm going to share, and we're just briefly going to speak about the system of education in South Africa. And thereafter, Dr. Molefe will do his presentation. He will introduce it. I will then do a presentation. I will introduce mine. And then Sifundo will do his presentation as well. So I think what is important here is that we look at what are we sharing in the process of us learning about being a teacher, and what does that actually entail? And one of the things we speak about, because we are obviously within teacher education, it is important that we understand that teachers are very important with regard to the education of not just the learners, also themselves in the process of becoming and being present. And we know that teaching and education is a lifelong process. So we never ever get to a point where we say, we're done, we know it all, we can do it all, and that's it. That does not happen. And if you're a teacher with that type of attitude, I think you must rather take your bag and take a walk somewhere or go on a trip, onto some other field. So our presentation this afternoon is really looking at educating for sustainable development in a South African context. And please note that we say in the South African context. And one of the things I do want to say is that we can replace for with, educating with sustainable development in the South African context. So when we start thinking about that and we want to say, well, what is this South African context that you speak about? And essentially the education context that we need to understand. Within South Africa, as in all other countries, there are different levels with regard to the education system. So we would have a schooling level, as you can see. And I thought the best way to do it is to actually give you a visual for you to look at instead of giving you a whole lot of text, because that's one of the other things that we have to consider. What are the different teaching and learning strategies? What are the resources that we are using? How relevant are they? How contextually relevant are they with the group of people that we are presenting to? So you can quite clearly see we have a schooling sector, and the primary sector is from ages 6 to 13. Then we have a high school sector, and then we have a tertiary sector. And more than that, if you look at the top left, our academic calendar ranges from January to December, which is already different to what you experience in your particular country. And the calendar year is broken up into 4 terms. So you can quite clearly see term 1 is from January to March, term 2 from April to June, and then obviously because there's 12 months in the year, divided by 4 gives you 3 months for each of those particular terms.
Angela,
now, what is significant?
Angela, sorry, if possible, please go on full mode with slides, because they're not moving. We just see cover title.
I am on full mode. On my laptop, I'm on full mode.
But not on Teams.
Let me.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord! You know your Teams thing. I don't like Teams. Okay, let me go. Let me just see Teams. How do you do that on Teams? I do presentations on Teams, and I don't have a problem. Why do I always have a problem when I'm going to do something with this group of people? Okay. So you can't see anything then. Let me just go there.
Share again.
Whenever I go. Yeah, I will. I'll go back. I'll go back and share again. I'm back to Microsoft. Share. Screen window. Okay. So should I put PowerPoint live? I'm putting screen window. Okay, wait. Lithuania. Okay, I've got that. Should be coming up now. I've clicked it. Okay, it's coming up.
It's correct now.
Oh, okay. I must do live. The internet is so slow today. I'm telling you, I'm drawing my teeth out of my... See, my hands are even perspiring because I don't like these things happening. Yeah, it's having difficulty loading the presentation because the internet is so slow in my office. Leonard, your internet must be quite nice there. Okay, is that better now?
Yes, it's correct. Please continue.
Yeah, it's okay in my office.
Okay.
You can use the cable.
Okay, that's fine. No, that's fine. Okay, so there we have the presentation with regard to our schooling. I think I must take my camera off. With regard to the schooling in South Africa, as we can see. And what is really significant here is that the 3 sectors are very important with regard to what is our focus in education. And with any other country, it's really about how we're developing our learners for the 21st century skills. And it's not just in terms of the technological aspects, it is also with regard to knowledge and also values. So values-based education and indigenous knowledge systems is integrated into our curricula. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop, and I'll stop excuse me, I'll stop sharing, because Leonard is the first one who is going to now start presenting. I was just giving an overview of our education system. The slides, you will get the slides and you can read that on your own and you can work through that. Thank you so much. I will stop sharing. How do you go how to stop sharing here? Okay. Leonard, are you going to go?
Your slides are still on.
No, it should be coming off now. They're just dragging.
All right. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, can you see my presentation?
It's not up yet. I can't see it. Maybe I'm just, yeah. Okay, it's up, Leonard. Carry on. It's up.
All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to waste the time. I'm going to dip in as quickly as possible because of the time that I have. I'm in slide mode. I don't know whether I can see that. Can you? Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
All right. Okay. I'm going to give you a bigger picture, which is our planet. And then I'll talk about the environment. I'll talk about man's impact on environment. And then I'll talk about how we can mitigate and adapt to the changes in our environment. And I will talk about what I have done with my students. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have a wonderful planet, planet Earth. It's majestic. It's called the beautiful planet. Why? Because of its exceptional environment. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a holy grail today, which is sustainability. It's a very complex concept, so it should be viewed holistically. It's very much at the heart of this holy grail, sustainability. If you look at that, you can't talk about sustainability without talking about the environment, which is great because our environment is actually beautiful, but we have messed it up. We need to understand this term, environment. It's not as simple as you think it is. It's very complex, and we need to unpack it, understand it in a broader sense. What is environment in a broader sense? You can understand this if you look at it through the lens of rhino poaching. There is social, economic, political, and biophysical aspects when you talk about environment in a broader sense. Let's look at, for example, rhino poaching. So there is that social aspect about it where people think its horn can be medicine, which is not scientifically proven. It's just a belief. That's a social aspect. In South Africa, rhino is part of the Big Five. And these Big Five are huge pull for tourism. That's the economic aspect. And the government, our government really has created laws around the poaching of rhinos. So perpetrators are sentenced. That's a political aspect about it. And these are majestic beings. They are very much part of our nature. So we are talking about the biophysical aspect of it. They shape landscape. Their huge dung really can be micro ecosystems. Who has been at the heart of environmental issues on this planet? I wish I can play the video now. It's a wonderful it will really stun you. It's beautiful, but we don't have time. Angela, I'll ask you how many minutes I have so we can play it, but I'll pass it for now. So who has been at the heart of environmental issues? Of course, it's us human beings, but I'll pass this. Ladies and gentlemen, there are threats to biodiversity, threats to environment. And the being that is at the heart of that is us. But then there is a serious threat today, which is global climate change. That's a huge one. Everybody's talking about it. And we are continuously changing the global climate. So what's going to be the fate of our environment if we don't stop any activity that contributes to the change of the global climate? I wish I have time so I can take you to the link here. Once again, Angela, you'll tell me the number of minutes that I have so I can play that as well. But I'll pass here. But what you can see here, it's the change. If we are talking about 4 degrees Celsius of global warming, what you see in red here, that's 4 degrees Celsius of global warming. There's a place in Durban, Ushaka Marine, beautiful. We'll never see it again if global warming is 4 degrees Celsius. And we have really beautiful places, hotels, they'll be under the water if there is no change. But what I like about human beings is we mess up, we also find a way of dealing with our mess. So what I'm going to show you is how we can deal with our mess by leveraging on technology and by leveraging on nature. Let's start with technology.
Imagine we could see into the future. What climate change could do to our homes, our towns. If we could look ahead decades or just days, would it save lives if we could see the flood before the hurricane arrives? Would we change our climate pathway if we could see their different consequences? Climate Central now has a tool to make the abstract future concrete and present and very local. It's called Flood Vision. Using a specially designed mapping tool mounted on our mobile flood rover, we employ sophisticated technology to collect images and data that make it possible to predict water levels down to your doorstep. The process includes the use of geospatial positioning, 3D LiDAR representation, and an AI neural network. Users can add realistic-looking digitized water conditions to any scene we capture to see their flood risk. Climate Central is poised to scale flood vision and build online tools to compare local, science-based flood projections anywhere and everywhere. We'll create a new paradigm for bringing climate warnings home in a personal, visual way, making it clear that the fate of neighborhoods, cities, and our global community depends on the decisions we make today. Now is the time for a new kind of vision to drive our climate decisions. It's time for flood vision.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we can harness technological advancements to mitigate and adapt to global climate change. But we can go further. We can look at the natural way of dealing with any factor that contributes to global climate change. Like, for example, accumulation of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So, mangroves, that can be behind natural approach. Why are they so important? Mangroves play a key role in carbon sequestration. Remember, at the heart of global climate change, it's accumulation of carbon dioxide.
Leonard, we're not seeing the visual for mangroves.
I can see them.
Oh, then it's me. Oh, my system is so slow. I'm so sorry.
All right. Okay. So mangroves are also part of forests. Did you know that forests actually meet all the sustainable development goals? All of them. When you talk about forests, we meet them. We address all of them. So that's why mangroves are so important, ladies and gentlemen, in sequestering carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and also meeting sustainable development goals. Teachers, the agents of change, are the ones that really should be thought about, because sustainability starts with them. They're agents of change. So what's new on education for sustainable development? And what have I done with my ecological studies students? Probably you would have asked yourself, okay, Leonard is talking and talking and talking, but we don't know what he has done with his students. We don't know what he has done with these agents of change. Yes, I've done something. But before I go there, let's look at what's new in education for sustainable development goals. I'm not going to talk a lot about this. I'm just going to focus on stakeholders. So if you look at this, we have community, we have youth, we have educators, we have learning environment, advancing policy. My colleagues are going to talk about, I think Angela is going to touch more on community and youth, and Sifundo probably will touch more on that as well. But I'm here, and Professor Vincentas, probably you have seen this before. It's what I've done with my students. For sure, you have seen this. So they were asked to, they were involved in a field work, and one of the ecosystems they studied is mangroves ecosystem. So I asked them to tell me about the sustainable development goals that are associated with mangroves ecosystem. It was interesting, but most of them really focused on climate action, which was very interesting. I'm not going to read what they wrote because I don't have enough time. And they talked about life below water. It was interesting that they didn't say anything about life on land in relation to sustainable development goals that goes with mangroves. So Angela, I don't know, that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know whether I have time or enough time, Angela, to play and also play the video and also play with the tool that shows what will happen if we don't stop.
Okay, Leonard, do that because it's connected, and then we'll go on to the community focused. Carry on.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to show you what we are doing on this planet and why it's important that we stop that, because that could be the problem. This is what we are doing to the planet.
Fun fact, planet Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Mankind, about 140,000 years old. Let me put that in perspective. If you condense the Earth's lifespan into 24 hours, that's one full day, then we have been here on this planet for, drum roll please, 3 seconds. 3 seconds. And look what we've done. We have modestly named ourselves Homo sapiens, meaning wise man. But is man really so wise? Smart, yes, and it's good to be smart, but not too smart for your own good. Yes, we have split the atom. Yes, we build clever machines that navigate the universe in search of new homes, but at the same time, those atoms we split created nuclear warfare. In our quest to explore the galaxy, rejects and neglects the home that we have here now, so no, that cannot be wisdom. Wisdom is different. While intelligence speaks, wisdom listens, and we willingly covered our ears to Mother Nature's screams and closed our eyes to all of her help-wanted signs. Wisdom knows that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if we were wise, we would not be shocked when we see storms that are stronger than ever before, or more drought, hurricanes, and wildfire than ever before, because there's more pollution than ever before, more carbon, more trees cut down than ever before. At a record pace, we have increased the extinction of animals by 1,000 times the normal rate. What a feat. In the next 10 to 100 years, every beloved animal character in every children's book is predicted to go extinct. Lions gone, rhinos gone, tiger, gorilla, elephant, polar bear gone. In 3 seconds. Species that have been here longer than us will be gone because of us in this 3 seconds. In an existence shorter than a Vine video, we turn the circle of life into our own personal conveyor belt. Somebody, anybody help. We were given so much. The only planet in this solar system with life. I mean, we are 1 in a million. No, actually, scientifically, we are 1 in a billion, trillion. That's a 1 followed by 33 zeros. And I don't want to get too spiritual, but how are we not a miracle? We are perfectly positioned to the sun, so we don't burn, but not too distant, so we don't turn to ice. Goldilocks said this. We are just like this paradise where we are given medicine from trees, not coincidentally, but because like the song says, we are family. Literally, everything, every species is connected genetically from the sunflower to the sunfish. And this is what we must recognize before it's too late, because the real crisis is not global warming, environmental destruction, or animal agriculture. It is us. These problems are symptoms of us, byproducts of us, our inner reflection. Loss of connection has created this misdirection. We have forgotten that everything contributes to the perfection of Mother Nature. Corporations keep us unaware and disconnected, but they have underestimated our strength. Contrary to popular belief, millions are waking up out of their sleep, seeing our home being taken right. We cannot allow our history to be written on the way.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what happened there. So probably a technical. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Leonard.
Okay,
yes,
I don't know
Leonard,
what happened
we can hear
there.
you.
All right, but then
Our
let me
internet
stop there.
is very bad on campus.
Yes, but let me stop there. Let me allow the next person to continue. I wanted to manipulate the tool that shows what will happen to different cities of the world. You can name any city in the world and we can see what will happen to it. But we don't have time. I'll stop right there.
Leonard, if we have time afterwards, you can probably do it then. So,
okay.
Yeah, I must say during your presentation, I was barely hearing it because it's bad in the office. Okay, I've uploaded my PowerPoint again, and I will continue with the presentation. And I want to say that... Oh, Leonard, stop. Yeah. And I want to say that obviously Leonard spoke about the fact that I will be working and focusing on climate change. I think what is important with regard to that is this question that I'm asking. So you say climate change is and we should do. Let me just say at this point that this is all linked to some of the work that we've been doing with teachers and a program that we had developed looking at climate change. And I do want to say that part of what we are doing here is work that I have also presented at other fora as well. So it's not only that I'm presenting it with you, I have presented it in different ways in other spaces. And I think what is significant about this particular question, so you say climate change is, and we should do. I want to know from you, if we look at the next slide, what did you think and or feel when you read this title? So you say climate change is, and we should do.
Sorry, Angela.
What did you think and feel?
Sorry to interrupt, Angela. I don't know if it's just me. I can't see. It says can't
You're not
display
seeing
content.
anything.
I don't know if it's just me.
Okay. It's our system.
I can see them.
Okay.
You
Then
can
it's
see
me.
it. Okay.
Yes, I can see the slides.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think when we start looking at this, and I must say that when I do this presentation, I use Padlet. Because of the system now, I'm not even going to venture into Padlet. But if you've never used Padlet, please go through and register on Padlet. You pay a very small amount every month. And it is really a fantastic tool to be used. And within Padlet, it's very similar to Jamboard. And I prefer Padlet because just the way in which it functions and the way in which it has a wall and a canvas, and it has so many other apps that you can upload to it as well. So what I normally do is I give you the QR code, which I've set up and everything already. I'm not going there. I will send it through to Prof. Lamanauskas. Is when I give you the QR code, you will then put in your responses to what you thought and what you felt about the title itself. Now, I must tell you that when I do this presentation, many people actually say that there's so much fear and anxiety with regard to climate change. And I think if you listen to what Leonard presented just now, quite clearly, the challenges and also the negative impacts on the environment are so highlighted by that poetic music that has been played as well. So as teachers, we have to think about what are we doing with our learners? And what is important is that when we're looking at something, it's everybody has their own perspective with regard to what that particular object, that issue, that phenomenon, exactly what is happening with it. And what we have to understand is that in working with people, we cannot say, this is what it is. We have to speak with people, really get them to elicit and to share their understandings. Then we look at, okay, where did these understandings actually come from? How can we then use those understandings to inform how we teach our particular learners? And within our scope in the South African context, you can quite clearly see that contextual relevance is really important when we are teaching. We cannot see our community of learners, our colleagues, as being separate from places, spaces, culture, religion, etc. And quite clearly you can see here, if we're thinking about climate change, who will decide what each of these particular groups of people should be doing? We note that individuals are experiencing war. We note that individuals, there's war in Sudan, there's war in the Congo, there's war in Gaza, and there's war in Ukraine. And then we want to speak about climate change and say people must consider climate change. What do these people have to even think about for the next day? Climate change is very far from their particular lives. So how do we sensitize people to the actual understanding of what climate change is? Now I bring you very close to home, which is an area which is about a 10-minute, no, I would say 5 to 6 minute drive from our particular campus. In South Africa, in the past, we had the Black community living away. Okay, I stopped sharing. I'm sorry about that. The connections. Let's make it all more exciting and just say, you know, these are the challenges of teaching and learning, and we can't let it get the better of us. So I'm not going to share again, but what I am going to do is I'm going to say to you that I will send the PowerPoint to Prof. Lamanauskas. I will just talk to it. And so we have a community of people who are Black African people, and in the past they lived in this community. Now, if you look at this community, which is a poor socio-economic setting, how do we speak with individuals in that community about climate change? Who is to say what should be said to them? Should we be saying to them that how we work with climate change is essentially how we together can decide what it is that we need to be able to do? So really what I'm alluding to then is that as teachers, our understanding about any phenomenon that is taking place should be informed by the lives of the children and by the lives of the community that we are situated in. And I do want to say that when we look at any particular phenomenon like climate change, we also have to think about what types of actions do we take collectively with our communities. So in looking in the South African context, in the African context, we have an organization called AFSA, the Alliance for Food Security in Africa, and they are very, very strong and active on climate change initiatives and how we need to mitigate and adapt for greater crop productivity, because with higher impacts of climate change, we're going to have major problems with regard to food source and foods at that. We also have locally in our South African context, we have different organizations. And one of the organizations are here present today with us, which is WESSA. And WESSA have a beautiful climate change game, and they have lots of different climate change programs. Besides that, we have climate and environmental justice education. So somebody would be saying, climate and environmental justice education? I've never heard about justice education. In our context, in order for us to understand in terms of the equity and the equality and looking at gender sensitive aspects, looking at access to education, justice is a very big issue for us to work with. We have another organization called Fundisa for Change, where we have developed a number of resources with them, our school, and Leonard is one of the people who was involved in developing those resources as well. We also are very important in terms of looking at the Climate Justice Charter. So there are policies within our government looking at climate change and the way in which our communities should be acting for and against the climate change initiatives that we are working with. I do want to say, and I'm not going to go on much longer, that with communities, I want to read what one of the communities was saying. We are not going to allow them to drill for oil. We are not going to allow them to take our land. We are not going to do oil mining to exacerbate our climate change. So these are the things that we have to think about. And what we then have to say is, it's not just about climate change per se, but it is about sustainable living for every person within the various communities in South Africa. And the one thing, as Leonard pointed out just now, is that climate change is a man-made problem. And therefore, it deserves the attention of the masses of people. And what has come through is a very new term that has been coined by millennials. It's called artivism. And what is it? It's bringing activism and art with social media into protesting against any types of actions which are increasing climate effects. So we have to look at what are the climate change movements that are in place and how do we actually work with them. I have a very good model which draws together contextual influences and how these contextual influences actually impact on the way in which we live. So we'd start with the one person, we then look at the school, we look at the family, and then we look at the community. And some of the indicators that we would be taking into account is the infrastructure that is present. What's the nature of the transport? What energy is present? What are the types of energy that is used? What is the total consumption of energy? What is the nature of the air? What is the learning environment for our children? Are there green spaces with lots of parks and trees? And is there biodiversity within the areas for the children to actually live in? And obviously, in talking about all this, we have to look at the SDGs as well. And I want to end off with one of the taglines that we work with. Engaging with communities, we all grow. How can we grow with you? And I'll stop at that point. Sifundo, I'm so sorry I couldn't share the slides, but every time I opened it, it kicked me out. Sifundo, you may go now. Thank you so much, everybody. I will send the slides over to you now, Prof. Lamanauskas.
Thanks, Angela, but it would be good to see you also. Please connect camera.
Okay, I will. Thank you. I will. Sifundo, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Let me
Okay.
share.
Yes, please do. Because WESSA also has a problem with internet sometimes, eh?
Yes, I'm
Oh my.
actually checking now. I'm trying to just
South
check everything.
South Africa is quite far away from Lithuania, you know, center of the world.
Go and sleep. We are the center of happiness. We are the center of happiness and great education.
Possible my students don't believe you.
They have to come to South
Pay for them to come to South Africa and they will believe.
We will.
Oh, yes,
So
please come as interns.
Angela,
Sifundo will
please.
invite you as interns.
Angela,
I'm
please
coming.
connect camera. We do not see you. It's not correct.
So I don't.
Leonard, maybe you can do it. Leonard, I think your connection is much better than mine. Today has been quite awful.
Okay,
We have so many people on campus, all the teacher workshops that are taking place.
Let me check in my inbox.
One of the things I must say to everybody present is you wanted something innovative, you wanted something creative, you wanted something diverse. So you can see we work together. We don't say, okay, I know it all, I'm going to do it. We work in a very collaborative, participatory manner. And the person who said that they want to come to South Africa, be prepared to be an open sharing person, because that's how we are.
Okay.
Okay.
And if people don't know that, they will learn that.
Okay, no, that's fine. Okay, thank you very much. Hi, everyone, once again. My name is Sifundo. You can go to the next slide. So I work for WESSA, Environmental Education. WESSA is the Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa. So I'm interested in community-based projects, and I'm a conservationist by profession, and I believe in teaching education for sustainability, mentoring, and field-based lecturing. So I decided to work as an educator, not as a scientist specifically, because I feel like I have to take my knowledge and share with the school learners, as opposed to just becoming a researcher, full-on researcher, but have an impact on the communities and people who live within South Africa. We can move on to the next slide. So in our organization, we believe in educating, advocating, and acting for environmental justice. So we have issues around climate change, water pollution, diversity loss, and anything that's busy affecting our climate. So our programs focus more on advocacy and promoting people to act towards environmental justice. So we don't just educate people and release them and let them go out to the society, but we give them that courage to advocate and act. And action can be through cleanups and fighting against issues of people who are trying to drill our oceans for oil and things that will affect our environment at a larger scale. You can move, Leonard. So, as mentioned, our mission is to educate, advocate, and act. So we are fighting against, fighting for social justice and to drive climate action and to protect and restore biodiversity and to also reduce pollution through citizen action. We believe that citizen action is one of the key components in solving the problems, because the citizens are the people who are affected at large, and then we have to make sure that we mobilize people to act and deal with the issues that we're facing. And our vision is to become a leading citizen action organization in Southern Africa to support action, fight biodiversity loss, and promote a no pollution tolerance culture. A lot of people have made littering and pollution as, to become part of them as a society. To a point, at some point, we thought plastic is one of our national flowers in South Africa, because wherever you go, you see plastic. In the taxi rank, wherever you go, on the road in South Africa, you see this plastic.
Should I move on? Yeah. Is it there?
Carry on.
Is Sifundo
Sifundo,
there?
are you there? Okay, carry on. We can talk to it and he can pick up where he left off. Change it. Thanks, Leonard.
Okay, there's a vision there. I don't know whether you want to talk to
Yes.
it in general.
No, we've worked to that. Go to the next one. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Oh. So our roadmap as an organization is to, can you please move, Leonard, move up, is to have this healthy, sustainable, managed planet that we need as people. So this is not about WESSA, it's not about UKZN, but it's about people holistically to have a sustainably managed planet. When you talk about sustainability, you talk about conservation. The words can be used interchangeable. We cannot allow us to continue as scientific conservationists alone fighting the issues of climate change and the issues that we face on the planet. But we need everyone to be a conservationist at heart and everyone to feel like they have a responsibility and a role to play in conserving the nature.
Okay, Leonard, go to the next slide. I think Sifundo keeps getting cut off. Go up, Leonard. Thank you.
He has talked about sustainability, yes. Right?
Yeah, you can move to the next one.
Yes. Sifundo, you keep going in and out.
Yeah, I think it's my network. Okay, so there is a book. There's a book called Becoming Brilliant. What science tells us about this is raising successful children. It talks about parents becoming agents of change for children's success when they nurture 6 critical skills constructed from the latest scientific evidence: collaboration, communication, critical thinking, creative innovation, and confidence. And when all these are tackled together, you will have children becoming successful in this day and age. So as WESSA education centers, we have programs that actually enhance the curriculum and enrich the children's mindsets in terms of communication and critical thinking and innovation, and of course, building the confidence of the learners. And that is done through the education centers that we have, hosting learners from different schools and different age groups coming to our centers and getting programs that will help them boost their confidence. And the parents become agents of change by allowing us and allowing us to impact their learners or their children. You can move, Leonard. So at WESSA, we have revolutionized our education programs so we can have this impact on learners. So we view ourselves as mediators of learners. So I said earlier that some of us are trained as scientists, but we believe to take that information, our findings, our scientific knowledge, and share with people. We take information that is at a higher level and make it palatable for the young ones and for the communities, because it's easy for information to be lost in communication on how we teach high level scientific information. So our responsibility is to take that information and share with people and encourage learners to explore nature in an exciting way, instead of having these big scientific findings that can be very difficult to decipher. So we take that and digest it and break it down so it can be digested and be palatable by at a primary level, or for the learners who are trying to understand science and nature. You can go, Leonard. So one of the biggest issues that we're facing now globally is degradation of natural habitats, and that's through developments, and loss of species diversity. When there are developments, if you look in South Africa, we have areas that have degraded our natural wetlands and grasslands and forests. That leads to species diversity. And of course, we have an issue of climate, which we call it now climate emergency, because there are people who still feel like climate change is coming. There will be climate change coming. It's happening already, and there are a lot of changes already. We can see how rainfall patterns have changed. In South Africa, now we're experiencing snow. Cape Town used to receive winter rainfall. Now there are changes in our environment. So we have to act and see that this is an emergency.
I think he has disappeared again. Should I move it?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So he's spoken. It's lagging for me. So will you speak to it, Leonard? Because I'm still on what he spoke about.
Yes,
Okay.
he talked about. Okay, he's back now.
There, he's come back.
Yeah.
Come back. Okay. I think what we need to say then is that WESSA looks at the issues in a very holistic manner, as you can see from this visual that is there. Leonard, go up a bit more so we can see the full effect of it. And really, they look at so many different ecosystems as well. And what is something that we need to think about is that every single ecosystem has life within it. And what we mean about that life and what we give meaning to life is really about how people in those particular areas are also looking at sustainable living. And yes, some people in different areas are not aware and not conscious of the environmental conservation types of behaviors and actions that they need to take in order to look at really cutting back on any bad effects on the environment as such. So this visual just takes you through all the different fields that you have with regard to the disciplines. It takes you into the history. And if you look at, for example, the hunter-gatherers, with regard to the Khoisan people, who are known to be one of the first groups of people within South Africa, and you look at the fact that they they were hunter-gatherers, so they only went out and they got food when they needed food. So this whole consumerism that we have within our societies and within our communities is just way overboard. We have to start looking at who are the producers? How are we also producing what we need to be looking at and what we require for our living? And do we have to be producing so much when in actual fact we just need that? And these are the things that we need to really conscientize our children and our communities with, so that there is a concerted effort and a collaborated effort where everybody is concerned with a particular purpose and they have this particular vision in mind for a better environment and also for a better future as well. Okay, carry on,
Thank you
Leonard.
very much. That was perfect.
You are big.
Can you hear me now?
And I don't even know your slide. I just spoke.
Officially. So we then take learners. There is something called eSTEAM, which is a method that kind of links science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. So we use the environment to teach science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, because it's easy for the learners to be bored in a classroom, but we then take them and enhance their classroom knowledge and get them to be involved in this framework that we use to teach. It gets learners to think out of the box, but the main thing is to solve the environmental issues using this eSTEAM framework. So what it does is it gives learners to go out and study the environment. A typical example is water quality issues. They go there and kind of study the environment and see if we have issues of pollution. Then they come back and create a solution, and the solution that they're going to come up with as students, they use science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. If, let's say, they want to build a water filtering system or an artificial wetland, they then incorporate all the subjects, the STEAM subjects that they do in the classroom. You can move, Leonard. So the eSTEAM helps them, like I've said earlier, to identify the problem, do research, come up with a concept, have a method and apparatus list, construction and engineering, testing and improvement, and they have to present a final product and then launch it and see if they can use it to solve the problem that they found when they were exploring the environment. To the next one. So then we help them using this approach called the problem tree, because it's hard. Problem solving is a very difficult, kind of way of solving. For you to find the problem, you need to find a better way to find the problem that we have. How do you find the causes? How do you find the problem itself? How do you find the effects? So we use this tree, which is called a problem tree, to get the learners to dissect the problem.
Okay.
And then when they dissect the problem, as you can see, you have to then take into account, look at the tree itself, look at the position of that particular problem, where the problem is, look at where the causes are positioned, and then right at the top, you're looking at the effects. And it's so important that you look at it in terms of diverse causes and also diverse effects as well. There can never be a unidirectional or unilateral cause and a unilateral effect. There are a multiplicity of causes and there is a multiplicity of effects as well. And I think when children are within an environment, each child will come with his or her or them, their particular idea and what they have, not just the idea, but the evidence-driven, what they have observed within that environment, which could possibly be the cause. Sifundo, I see you back. Carry on.
Yes. I
The
think you
next
should
slide.
just finish it off. Next slide.
Okay.
Or we can just simplify it and use this solution flower, where you look at the root causes and look at the leaves as the effects, and look at the stem as the problem statement, and the petals as the identified.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've done a workshop with WESSA, with teachers, where it was the primary school teachers, and we decided not to use the
what's
problem
called
tree.
constructivism method.
Carry on.
Yes.
Notice
Yes,
the
disappeared.
visuals that here. Sifundo, let me talk to this slide. You'll come in for the next one. And notice here that the children are, obviously, there's a problem that they're working with. And look at the steps that they have to take, develop a possible solution, and they have to design. They have to design. And what's important, in order for them to get there, they have to create mind maps. Now, who would say that children, you can see how small the children are, and obviously, I think they look like they're 10, 11, and 12-year-old children. Look at how they are working together to sort out what the actual problem is and what it is that they need to do in order to solve the problem. Remember, they must come with the design, and it must be a technological structure or tool that must be there, as well as the information that they are sharing. So it's not just information. This is how we think you should do it. Let's look at this practical tool that you have developed and then take it from there. Next one, I think Sifundo, carry on with the next one. Thank you.
Yes, so this is just showing the concept design and how you write down the steps to follow to construct what you want to construct, and a list of apparatus you require to construct your design, and to identify the list and the relevant stakeholders, how you're going to work with them so you can solve the problem. We can move to the next one, Leonard.
I think these are what now? The videos.
Yeah, so the videos, I won't be able to play them. That's okay, but that's that. So what we're trying to do with this, we're trying to approach this in a constructivism way of teaching, where it's a learner-centered approach, where learners construct their own knowledge. And they move from the unknown to the known, or we take them in a journey of discovery, as opposed to treat learners as empty vessels where they just open up and we give them information. It's a hands-on approach where learners are creating their own knowledge, and they will never forget what they learned. And of course, it's inspirational because they get to work in a way that they want to see what the outcome will be. So there is inspiration there. And at the same time, we have presentations where learners will have to present and communicate with other learners and get positive criticism, so they can go and fix where they went wrong, or where people are identifying as challenges that they will face with their product that they've
made. So Leonard, go. And I think everybody's getting the idea of STEAM when we're saying that it's the science, technology, engineering, arts, and maths. Carry on, Sifundo. Every time you come back, it goes like this on my on my screen.
That's fine. Thank you very much. That's it from my side. So we work with UKZN with other projects, some other projects. UKZN comes to our education centers as part of their excursions. So we have a wonderful working relationship. And I think we're going to go too far, because now we're working with other communities. We recently went to a school that they actually work with. So we're going to come up with a very good working model to have a positive impact.
Yeah, and may I say also, I mean, if there are students who are interested in being interns with WESSA, on Monday, we met, that was Monday this week, we met students from Norway, Sweden, who are interns at WESSA, from Sweden, who are interns at WESSA. Maybe you want to speak about that as well, because teacher professional development is more than just being part of the program. Thanks, Sifundo. Speak about that. That would be great.
Yes, so we have students from Jönköping University in Sweden. They study in global studies, and sustainability is part of it. So they chose to come to WESSA because they felt they will have a good kind of, learning opportunity in terms of how we are affected by environmental issues, particularly climate change in South Africa, and of course, how we link and work with UKZN. So we actually took them to UKZN. They attended Dr. Molefe's lecture, where he was talking about, how the environment is affected by climate change and other issues that we have in the environment, and of course, how the climate is changing. So it was a very good experience for them to see that. And we took them around different areas in Durban, looking at the schooling system. So it was a wonderful experience for them. So they will get a chance to actually put together a report looking at the work that we're doing and taking some of the lessons back to Sweden so they can have an overall understanding what's happening globally. So
it's an ongoing type of relationship, and I think they have an MOU with and an MOA with the particular university, and maybe that's something that the students in this group can actually pursue with your particular university. And Prof. Lamanauskas could be the person that you can speak to, because I remember that he was the person that introduced me to Erasmus mobility and Erasmus exchange for students. And it's amazing how many of our students and staff have now traveled with regard to Erasmus. And it's the intercultural competences that we are looking at all the time. There is so much that we can learn together. Sifundo, I won't say any more.
Yeah, that's perfect. An opportunity, I think it is an opportunity for you to actually, Vincentas, it's an opportunity to explore these opportunities with WESSA and UKZN. If you really want to have an exchange program, or you want your students to come and visit WESSA, we are open to that kind of partnership, because it opens up a lot of opportunities, not only for the university, but for the students and other organizations and stakeholders that you work with. So think about it. We are open at WESSA. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. I think in closing comments, Leonard, any closing comment? And then Sifundo. Closing comment, Leonard.
From my side, it has been wonderful. This was a wonderful opportunity to share with people out there what we do in South Africa. And they can see the teamwork as well. We work together as a team, whether it's within UKZN, me and Angela, or whether it's us and other organizations, which is WESSA and UKZN. We are like a family, and it's a wonderful experience, and I'm enjoying it immensely. If I don't know. Okay, Angela, you can take over.
Yeah, I don't know, Sifundo, do you want to have some closing comments?
Yeah, then thank you very much. Thank you for organizing this. It's a great opportunity for us to come here and talk about our experiences and the work that we do. And to be honest, I get inspired every time I present some of the things that I say. I feel like, oh, this is what we actually do. Sometimes when you present, you get reminded of the work that you are doing. So I really appreciate the opportunity. And yeah, let's keep working. Let's make a change. Let's go out there and keep talking and engaging with people for the betterment of the planet. Thank you.
Okay, and may I say thank you so much to Leonard and Sifundo and everybody present who was listening to us. You must have thought, who are these three crazies that are coming up? Because firstly, the internet connection is whatever, and someone's talking on someone else's PowerPoint, etc. But that's exactly what Leonard spoke to, is that the teamwork is something that we really honor and we value. We value every person because every person matters. And if we can come together in a collaborative manner, because teaching is much more than working with the content with our learners. It's the values that we carry and the values that we share in our teaching about whatever it is that we are looking at. So here this afternoon, as you witnessed or as you observed, we were looking at environmental sustainability in a South African context. And when we speak about contextual relevance, note the examples that were being used. Leonard spoke about rhinos. Sifundo spoke about rainfall in Cape Town. And if you think about these climate justice groups that are present within our South African context, there are different groups present. Essentially, they are pushing government. Yes, we've got laws, but how are they being enforced? We have to think about all of that. So when we think about the IPCC, the International Governmental Panel on Climate Change, it is important that we, South Africa, are signatories to that. Therefore, if you sign on something, you should be in tune with the actual policies as well. So teacher education is a fantastic space to be in, and I'm quite sure that you are enjoying your experiences. And let me tell you, to be a teacher, this morning I said to the students, what do you want? Take a choice, money or time. It was a Mentimeter test, money or time. You know how many students chose money? And the one student said, if I have more time, I will be able to earn more money. So we had a big discussion about it. And I said, if you want to be a teacher, don't go for money. We don't earn a lot of money like people in industry. But anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you, Angela. But it's South Africa approach, but possible not.
Okay, we'll come and teach in Lithuania. Okay. Sifundo and Leonard, we're going to teach in Lithuania. Lamanauskas is going to get us a post.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that. I would really appreciate that.
Well, it's so good that afternoon session. It's quite relaxing, I would say. It's really nice, despite some disturbances and technical problems. You were able somehow to interplay. It's like really good approach. I know quite well because I took part in some seminars directly being in South Africa, and it's. What are you doing, Angela? You are doing something different. It's not connected with our topic today. Okay, possible students, some questions. I do not see questions in chat. Possible you can put some questions or just ask directly. Can you shortly explain about technological element in everything what you have said? Technology in education, in let's say non-formal sector mainly, because you are mainly focused on non-formal education.
If you're looking at technology,
general overview,
General overview, I think what is important is that firstly with technology, it could be rudimentary, basic technology that people work with. So Sifundo will actually share with you some of the basic indigenous knowledge technologies that we have. Sifundo, don't you want, I did say it would be great if you showed some of those visuals. What are the indigenous knowledge technologies that we have, Sifundo? And
So-
it's within the community and also in education.
Yes. So what we do usually in our education centers to fight climate change, we use, how we used to cook in the past using a fire, and then we have a lot of, oven cookers that can use the sun instead of using electricity, where you can take something called a parabolic cooker, and kids get an opportunity to build their own parabolic cooker, where you have to direct it to the sun, and instead of using the electricity that we use, the coal that is affecting the climate, you use a parabolic cooker. And there are other avenues that we can use. There's something called water harvesting. Instead of having ways of relying heavily on the municipality, but you have sustainability commons such as JoJo tanks, where people can actually harvest water from the roof. To try and reduce the impact or the strain on the municipality, a person can actually go completely off-grid. One other thing that we do in our education centers, we also use, there's something called long drop. It's a toilet called long drop. Instead of having chemicals, one of the biggest issues that people don't know, I studied water quality for my master's. We realized that there are, septic tanks are becoming point sources of pollution, because people are using septic tanks, and they also use some of the chemicals to try and clean their toilets, and those chemicals become problems in our water, our natural water bodies. So we find ways to use the indigenous and normal way of using a toilet instead of using the common way that people are using now. So we teach people that some of the indigenous things that we are deeming as old-fashioned, they were actually good for the environment. So there are many ways and many methods that you can do to try and avoid the issues of climate change, and we call that sustainability commons.
That's a nice, yeah. Okay. I think we're done. Prof?
Yes, thank you very much for your team, really good teamwork in different contexts and in different situations. You found a solution. It's so good. We need to learn somehow from your experience. Okay, but it's some usually saying we have different situations, different contexts, and somehow it was really good. I already received your PowerPoint presentation via email, and possible I will find a way to resend to students. Possible somebody has some questions or reflections or just comments.
One word would be great. One word.
One word.
From one of the students, yeah. Because they're not saying anything, so one word would also be fine.
Do you see the similarity of them with ours?
Yeah, some of our students don't like to answer as well, but don't you worry, when they're in my class, they answer. So Lamanauskas can't get them to answer.
It was wonderful to hear about South Africa's educational systems and what the new innovations are made in education in this system. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. You should come and do an intern with WESSA.
I think about it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I hope that our communication and good relations with your university and with your team also will continue in the future, obviously. Thank you very much once again. Have a nice rest of the day, and it's really time is going quite fast, and we should finalize. Bye for now.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.